Humane societies across this country are seeing a worrying and in many cases heartbreaking trend, an increase in pet surrenders. And the big reason is the rising cost of living. There have been reports of the situation in Calgary, but also in other parts of the country, provinces like BC, Ontario, and Quebec seeing similar scenarios. We want to bring you some more detail on all of this with Sally Johnston, who's the Director of Community Services for the Calgary Humane Society and is in Calgary this morning. Good to see you, Sally. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You know, we were doing this reporting at CBC News, this national trend of people across the country increasingly surrendering their pets to animal shelters and humane societies like yours. We thought we'd focus on what's going on in Calgary for a little bit today. What are you seeing in more detail? What exactly is happening?
We're seeing tons of demand for owner surrender in particular, and a lot of really heartbreaking, really emergent situations that families are facing. These are folks that have found themselves in situations of having nowhere to live, let alone with their animals. They can't afford the cost of living. They can't find pet-friendly housing. That is a massive challenge that they can afford. And they're being displaced to the street, to their vehicle, just to have a place for shelter with their animals, with or without really. People are struggling with access to care for their animals, and people are even struggling with access to care for themselves. We're getting multiple stories a week of folks in hospital with their pets, living in the vehicle with them just to make sure that they're close to family. And it's a heartbreaking situation for sure.
Well, it really is to hear it as you tell us. So that's the why they're turning this in. I mean, we've heard about people having to surrender their pets. Obviously, that's the reason for your existence in some part. But is this a new phenomenon? This introduction of cost of living concerns, housing concerns? Is this part of the new?
It's been something we've been experiencing for several years, but I think it's really hitting a bit of a boom right now. I mean, whether that's post-COVID, I think there's certainly economical challenges that are exacerbating the issue. So while it's not entirely new, the amount of it is really becoming an overwhelming new theme across all animal shelters and animal welfare industry in general.
So the amount, the extent of it, do you have numbers there at Calgary that could speak to what has changed or, just how significant this has become?
Yeah, I mean, this year alone, we've already taken in 1,700 animals, of which 800 of them is owner surrenders. It's a growing number. We're very fortunate here at Calgary Humane. We do have a number of programs designed specifically to address these types of things. So we're fortunately seeing those numbers go up as well. Access to our seniors program, our spay-neuter. But in general, the amount of animals that we intake just out of owner surrender alone, it is our overwhelmingly highest population. It is predominantly what fills up our shelter.
So I'm wondering what position that leaves you in. You mentioned you do have programs which are increasing with this increasing need. But I know 2 years ago at your Humane Society, you actually had to suspend intake because it became so intense. Might you have to consider doing something like that again?
It's always on the table. I mean, Calgary Humane is an open intake shelter. So if there's an animal that needs us, we are taking them in. That includes from our peace officers who are removing them from a potentially dangerous or violent situation. That's individuals fleeing domestic violence. That's even strays that we don't want to leave out on the street. So they need us. We're taking them in. But sometimes that means that we're going to have to halt other programs, including owner surrender. It's not something we want to have to do, which is why we've designed as many programs as we possibly can to address the heart of that owner surrender, to make sure that wherever possible, no one is forced to surrender their animal. They can choose to if they want to, but we never want to see anybody in a position where they absolutely have to.
Yeah, that's the component to all of this, isn't it? They may not choose to, but they may be having to surrender their animals whom they would love, as pet owners do. So what will happen to the animals, Sally?
So when they come here to Calgary Humane Society, I mean, we're going to take care of them all the way through, from the very beginning to the very end, the point that they're adopted. So they're going to get that medical exam. They'll spend some time with our behavior staff, getting to know them, articulating what sort of needs they have in a long-term home. And as quickly as we can, we're going to get them into a foster home. We're going to get them in and out of the shelter. And that's not only ideal for that animal, because, we want them in a home, in a loving environment where they can be, with a 1-to-1 ratio with that family. family, but it also then preserves our ability to continue to intake other animals. And then they'll hang out with us right up until the point that they're ready to be adopted, and then we'll find them that forever home and then support them even once they're in that adoptive home. I'm
not seeing them in the background, but I know you have two right there. Where are Mocha and Orange for us? Have they hidden from the camera?
Apparently they're a little camera shy. I don't know if you can see them, but they're missing their big debut, but they are so cute, so sweet.
Well, I have one more question. Maybe they can make their appearance. I guess, as you say, this is not a new phenomenon, but it's been worsening and it's reached this critical point right now. Given that people may learn of this for the first time, what is your message to people about all of this at this point?
I think for those folks that have an animal and might be struggling, reach out to us before you're really having to consider surrender. We have so many programs that are designed specifically to help keep animals happy and healthy in the homes that love them. The sooner you reach out, the more that we can prevent that surrender. And to anyone out there who is really moved by this particular issue and might not be facing it on a personal level, there's so many ways in which to help out. Fostering is a huge one. If you happen to work for a clinic, consider signing up and partnering with us for a spay-neuter or a seniors program. There's just the way that we can help is by really rallying our community around the notion that animals are part of the family unit, and we want to preserve that as much as possible. So reach out whether you need help or you're willing to help, and we're happy to have that conversation.
Sally, thanks. I really appreciate speaking to you today, and to your two friends, wherever they are, I thank them for being part of it. We'll definitely be keeping this in mind. Thank you, Sally Johnston.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
She's the Director of Community Services for the Calgary Humane Society. And again, there's much more on this story online, and some good reporting, too, from Marketplace over the years in terms of the cost of veterinary services, how that's contributed to this situation. You might want to look at that archive as well. But the latest reporting's up on our website or on the CBC News app.